Saturday. Sorry I missed you yesterday. Ran into a couple of things going on and just could not get away. But I'm here today. Hope everybody is having a great Saturday morning so far. Um, we had a good Friday night at home. We'll get into that a little bit. But thank you for joining me uh, for a Saturday session here on Define My Day. Um, it's been a weird couple of days, a terrible couple of days in the news, um, and that's something that I'm really not going to touch on in this session. I'm trying to sort through it myself, and how to best talk about it. So I know we have discussed a little bit in the past, but as things develop, maybe it's something we do. We have like an evening session or something where we sit and talk about it over a beer. I don't know. I don't know. So we'll get there. But I do want to talk about today. We're going to talk about how people communicate, how you might be communicating, and kind of what it gets you. Yeah, and I feel like this is something that I've grown my awareness of over time. As we develop relationships, a lot of times we communicate and develop relationships that we're used to that are comfortable for us, but are generally not the best for us. So, are you getting the results you want out of the communication that you're putting out there? It's kind of what I want to go with today because it does have a relationship to some of the things that are going on now. So we'll get there. Good morning, Lori, from a cool sunny Michigan. Yeah, it is. It's actually kind of chilly right here. We woke up, it was under 60. It's only 63 right now in my office. I just got done drinking a shake, and my office is cold, and I am freezing right now. I'm actually shivering a little bit right now. So it is kind of cold here, too. Although beautiful, it was a little bit foggy this morning. It's sunny right now, sunny and cloudy. Uh, but definitely a change from where we were last week. It was 85 and beautiful. Now we're heading into some days where it's not going to be quite so great. My office is getting set up. I spent a lot of time working on it yesterday. I got a new desk that doesn't shake whenever I touch it. I'm working on some other stuff in here, but we're getting there, trying to figure out the camera angles and things like that, and trying to come up with like an educational space so we can do some stuff on the whiteboard. So I'm getting there. We're definitely getting through this whole process of setting things up. So I appreciate y'all joining me. It's good to see you. I know it's a Saturday and there's a lot of other things you could be doing right now. So I appreciate that you're here with me. And I'm sorry for missing you yesterday. I saw some people posting that they needed their fix. So I appreciate that you guys find this time so valuable. It's kind of a big deal for me too. So and it's a big deal to see that you guys um, appreciate it. So thank you. I appreciate that. Last night we decided to just chill out. We were gonna try to discuss our living room furniture situation, but we never really got around to it. Um, I made some frozen margaritas, which I don't normally do, and I usually just have like a margarita on the rocks. So I made frozen margaritas, and they just go down so much easier. And so Lynn and I, both probably made them a little bit too heavy, and didn't get much done last night. So we hung out with the boys. I made. So I'm addicted now. So I don't know if you've ever had a Cuban sandwich, but um, there's a place near us that makes the best Cuban sandwich I've ever had. Now, I've had Cuban sandwiches in the past. They've never really blown me away. I've just never a big fan. I'm not a ham fan in the first place. In a Cuban sandwich for me just was never in the top 10 or 20 of sandwiches for me. But this place near us made it so good. It's probably my all-time favorite sandwich right now. They use smoked pork and it just the way they make it is awesome. Awesome. And so I decided to try to recreate it myself. I made pulled pork last week and we froze some of it. And so I pulled some out of the freezer and I made like these little Cuban sandwich sliders. And so we did them last night. We had some sliced ham. I threw my pulled pork on there. We didn't have Swiss cheese, so I threw mozzarella cheese on there. We did have the mustard and the pickle, and you could see my margarita there in the background. And they came out pretty good. Not as good as this restaurant, but it definitely gave us a fix. And we were looking up Cuban recipes, Cuban sandwich recipes, and we saw that in the Florida Keys, they throw lettuce, tomato, and mayonnaise on there. And my oldest boy, who's allergic to eggs, has never had mayonnaise, and we just found an egg-free mayonnaise. So he is now experiencing mayonnaise on turkey sandwiches and things. And so what we decided is that now, tomorrow, or I'm sorry, tonight, we're going to make them with lettuce, tomato, and mayonnaise and try that. He was really excited. But both of my boys, this is not like a normal sandwich for them. Both of my boys were like over the moon with these sandwiches. So I was pretty happy with that. So it worked out pretty well. Let's check out the comments real quick. Good morning, DMD friends. Good morning, Angel. Paula, thanks for the response to my career goals. Awesome. Come down and get warm in, is that Delaware? Is DE Delaware? I think so. Good morning, Sandy. Happy anniversary, Angel. Good for you. Happy anniversary. And good morning from hot Arizona. Hadn't planned to be up this early in the weekend, but our dog must think I should be. Yep. Happy anniversary. And good morning. I was reading two comments at once. So happy anniversary and sorry about your dog. Had frozen margaritas from takeout with dinner last night too. There's a place near us that does takeout margaritas right now, and they are ridiculously good. I've had them. I went there when I was in college, and they were good. I have to sniff really quick, so I'm going to mute this mic real fast. All right. I didn't bring any Kleenex here. My allergies are rocking this past couple of days. I can't I can't. It's actually a little bit late in the season for me right now. I don't know why it's this bad, but I can feel like my throat's itchy and like my nose is itchy. My eyes, if I touch my eyes, it just gets crazy. You know what confused me, Janice, about the Delaware thing? You said come down, and I'm thinking, how far south is Delaware? I'm looking at it geographically, Pennsylvania, and I'm thinking, well, maybe. So yeah, so there's me with my social studies expertise. So look, I want to show you this cute kind of video that we had. My son, I brought our weights over from the other house and had them sitting in the driveway. And I walked out of the garage, and this is what I came to, and I caught just the end of it. Him lifting weights in the driveway, which is what we're bringing to the neighborhood here, lifting weights in the driveway. So yeah, so that's yeah, that's who we are. I thought it was cute. My dad's like, he lifts more than I do. But he even picked up, he was reaching down when you saw at the end of that video, he was picking up the 25-pound weight. And I'm like, dude, put that down before you drop it on your foot. But he's all proud about getting in shape. He's like, he's trying to get there. This mess you see on my face right now, I ordered clippers earlier this week from Target. I may show up one day with a mohawk just to screw around, but I am going to shave my head. Like not like shave it, but like get down, crew cut, whatever you want to call it. I can't handle this mess anymore. I can't go out without a hat on, and I can't do this anymore. So we are going to be cutting this close really fast. All right. So let's get into this first meme that I have here. And this is kind of a serious meme. Serious, cute, right? I get it. But I wanted to point something out here because my thought as I was reading this was that, so I have this, like, so we love our golden retriever, right? But my thought is that when we bring in guests into our house, we have to appreciate that they may not like dogs. They certainly don't want to be jumped on. They certainly don't want to be shed on. They don't want to be slobbered on. And that's my feeling about it. Like, so what we keep, sometimes if they don't like dogs, we keep Morgan in our bedroom or whatever. Um, or like once she calms down, everything's fine, right? But so I read this, and I'm going to go through it. So when visiting my house, please remember, and this is the dog talking, right? I think if you don't like dog hair, stay off the couch. I live here. You are the guest. But so let me go to the guest one, right? So the couch one, look, you can warn them that's the dog's couch. Don't sit on the couch. Or you can clean the couch, one or the other. I live here. You are the guest. There's a time, and has this shifted? Like, we used to clean up for guests. And we used to, like, make guests feel at home, right? Suddenly now, are we just saying, like, come into our house and suffer through it, right? I mean, or like we're not gonna do anything to make you feel comfortable. Is that kind of where we're going with this? Now, listen, I know I'm overanalyzing this post, right? But I feel like it's very important to realize the small things we say become like a cultural thing, you know? So, okay, so you will be sniffed, possibly licked, deal with it. Again, if we're telling someone to deal with it, we're not taking into consideration how they may feel about it, right? Maybe I still want to be friends with you. Maybe I want to visit you at your house. Maybe I want to have dinner with you. It doesn't mean I want to put up with your dog. And if you are saying deal with it, you then have to deal with somebody that doesn't want to deal with it and may not visit you anymore, right? So then you have to say, well, am I willing to put my dog over this relationship, right? All right, going on. To you, I am a dog, but here I'm the baby. Okay, that's fine, right? That's fine. They like me more than they like most humans. That uh, I struggle with. I struggle with. We love our dog. Um, I still think that we need to treat humans as humans and dogs, while members of the family, as dogs, right? We love our dogs. I'm not saying we don't love them. They're not people. They love me. They're only friends with you. I don't know. We love a lot of our friends. And even if it were me to you, and we only know each other virtually for the most part, I still would probably have more respect for you than my dog. Even if I see my dog every day, love my dog, scratch my dog's head, all that stuff, right? So all of this stuff, like, and the left side of this meme is what I'm really focusing on, because it's that situation. It's like that, like, we need to take other people's feelings into consideration. We can't just say, deal with it. We can't just say, like, this is who I am. If you don't like it, tough on you. You have to realize, if you have that mentality, then you're going to push away a lot of people, right? Like, we can't always be, it's funny because Lynn and I were just talking about this yesterday. You can't always be worried about what other people think, right? But you can't always be completely unaware of how you're behaving, speaking, or whatever, if it's pushing the people away that you don't want to push away, right? So you probably want some feedback, but you also probably want to observe their reactions to the things you're doing, right? Listen, I know there are certain times when I have to say, yeah, I screwed that up. Or I have to say, I don't care. This is who I am. Take it or leave it, right? You're making that choice every day. And sometimes you're making the wrong choice, just out of having blind spots or whatever, right? And it gets complicated the more like with the different situations, right? But we have to realize that, like, all these things that we put out there, whether it's the political stuff, or whether it's these memes about our dogs, or whether it's the interactions we're having day to day with people, um, it's causing other people to either come to us or go away from us. And we have to look at the end result. Are we attracting the right people? And I want to relay to you something that happened with me yesterday. So look, we just moved, right? And we have an exorbitant amount of garbage because of like packing materials and all this other stuff, right? And so yesterday we had probably 10 garbage bags out there. We had furniture that I had taken apart. We had a piece of furniture we were throwing away. We had a lot of garbage. And I was aware of that. And I put it all out on the curb and I waited for the garbage man to come by. In fact, I sat on the front porch for probably an hour because I heard the truck. I just didn't realize it was like a couple of streets away, and we're not sure exactly what time it comes around. So I come inside, do my thing. I'm looking out the window every so often, and I see it coming up the street. So I go outside and I wait for the guy to drive up on the pile of garbage that we have there, and I say, "Hey, can I offer you a hand?" And his response is something like, "Sure," right? Like annoyance. So as I'm helping, like he's not really like team working this whole thing. He's just kind of just like doing his thing, and I'm in his way. Is kind of the feeling I'm getting, right? And so, he does his thing. It's all gets put in there, and it's he drives off, right? Not dumping the garbage can actually that had garbage in it also, but never once said, "Hey man, thank you." Nothing. Never acknowledged it. And so in that interaction, I made myself uncomfortable in trying to help the guy, but thought that should. I felt like I should because it was a lot more than I think is normal for most people, right? And plus, there was that one large piece of furniture that I thought I could help him get into the dumpster. And the guy's general attitude was, whatever, man. Like, it was almost annoyance that he had to do it, but even more annoyance that I was trying to help. And regardless of whether I gave him the kind of help he wanted, there was no like nothing, right? It was just like whatever. And so I'm not saying like I needed like him to go, "Yeah, you're awesome," like whatever. That's not what I'm saying I needed. But the interaction that I had, not even like a, "Hey, thanks for the help, man," like not even that, not even acknowledging it, isn't going to make me want to help the next time, even if he wants it. So if next week I have another big piece of furniture, which I might have, and it goes out on the curb, I'm not going to be so inclined to run out there and help him take care of it. So he's going to be miserable when I did help, right? So if that's the reaction that happens, then I'm not going to do anything extra to go out and help him, you know? Um, and so in that one little like 2 minute interaction or however long it was, um, like we have to like I would say maybe I'm not aware of something, but on his side of things, like seeing somebody like that would come out and try to help you do your job, then like that's like a little extra, right? And so you want to if you see that, then if you appreciate it and you want it to happen again, then you give somebody positive feedback that you want to happen again. If you're giving negative feedback, then chances are it's not going to happen again. And if it would make your job easier, then that's the result you're getting is that you're not getting the help, right? So, um, and we see that in a lot of interactions, right? I mean, like if you're the kind of person that is looking for help, but then when you get it, you react in a way that says you don't need it, or you react in a way that says that you don't appreciate it. Well, then somebody's going to be less likely to help you the next time, right? And there's examples all around us. So how are we communicating what we are doing and how other people are doing, and and it happens in marriages. I mean, I'm sure Lynn and I have had these miscommunications all of the time, right? Somebody's looking for the type of feedback that they need as like a yes, this is the right thing, this is the thing I would like you to do and I'm happy about, or that no, this is the other thing, and one of us thinks we're being clear and the other one is like, what's going on, right? But so we have to constantly be aware of it and see, kind of, kind of like judge, like put your finger on the pulse and kind of judge where we're at with it, right? um Going into the comments here. So Debbie, going back to talking about having the people in the house, right? Hospitality used to be a thing. So that's it, right? So, and that's the communication. Like when I invite you into my home and I let my dog jump all over you, or that I don't even make you feel welcome, like I'm happy that you're here, then like you're not being hospitable. And somebody's not going to keep walking into an inhospitable environment, right? So if you want people to come over, you have to treat them like you want them to come over. If you're cranky, if you let your dog jump all over them, then like people aren't going to do it anymore. And then you're going to find yourself at home alone, and it might even stop them from inviting you over to their place, right? So we have to see, like, understand that, like, people want to feel okay. Nobody wants to feel like a burden. Nobody wants to feel, um, like whatever, uncomfortable. But we constantly are doing things in opposition to how we want people to feel, and sometimes we're not even aware of it. And some people have unrealistic expectations too, right? So there's all parts of this on the plane. Be respectful, and that isn't that really what it all comes down to? Being respectful. Like, I see you, I respect you as a person. I might not agree with you. I still respect you as a person. And I think that's a lot of what's going on right now politically, is you have people that are justifying disrespect based on opinions or differences or whatever. They're justifying disrespect. I just watched a thing where a Fox News uh, crew was chased off of reporting at the White House by a mob, basically. And while you don't want anybody to feel in danger like that, my thought was that when you put out a kind of message, it's okay. It's not okay, but it's okay for you when things are like calm and it's just like airwaves debate, right? But when things start to explode and tensions are high and people are really angry, then there are consequences to the message you're putting out there. And whether you agree with Fox News's message or not, what happens is that they've angered a lot of people with the messages they've put out there. And now that's becoming an actual physical conflict. And so, there's consequences to the things we say and do. And it can go the other way. I mean, CNN might say something that angers conservatives, right? I mean, and so they're going to face the consequences of a continuous negative message toward a group of people there too. It's just, and it goes back to like that, like everybody's a tough person until they're faced with somebody, when they're put face to face. Like, we can talk on this camera, and I can sit in my house and talk on this camera day in and day out, but I have to face the consequences of my words when I'm actually telling someone to their face this sort of thing, right? So it's different. It's different. It's comfortable here, right? But if I'm sitting to your face, what kind of conversation are we going to have? I would like to think that I could still have this conversation and you could feel respected and we could have a debate. But I think a lot of times you see people spouting all kinds of stuff from the comfort of their home or their studio or whatever. It's when this stuff all comes, when you're face to face, it's not so comfortable anymore, especially when somebody's willing to get physical over it. So Helen, I did the right thing. I thought I was. I thought I was, but I probably won't do it next week. And this is my thought. I I would like to be the kind of person that could say, I'll keep being nice and I'll keep running myself into that wall. And he can keep being, cranky and I'll keep, but that's not my job, right? And that's sort of the boundary that I've created for myself, over time. I ran into that wall with a lot of people, right? And now it's not my job to make him happy. It's not my job to make him feel good. It's my job to be a respectful, responsible adult and try to help the guy out. But if his response is going to be one of, I don't need your help, well, then I'm not going to give it, right? I'm not going to keep running into that wall. And nobody should, right? Say what you mean what you say. And if you want help, if somebody offers you help, say thank you. I appreciate that, right? Even if your day sucks, say thank you to the people that help. Because how many times have we run into that, right? Where maybe we've even done it, where we really appreciated the help and didn't say it and didn't, and then we didn't get it the next time and we were really angry, but we didn't get it because of the past time. We didn't show our appreciation. So, that's how things continue to go downhill. And then what happens is, and we know these like cranky people, like miserable people in our lives, that they want help, but then when they get help, they're really like miserable about it. And so they're putting off this like disjointed vibe, right? Where they're like, yeah, like, oh, life is so hard and blah blah blah. But then when you do something to help them out, they're like, oh, you didn't really even have to do that. And so like there's those endearing people, like I'm picturing Clint Eastwood or somebody like that right now, right? Or that grandma that's always like that. And there's those endearing people, and people just help them anyway, right? But that's not like a good relationship. Like it should be like, I need help. I'm even cranky about it. Somebody gives me help and they're like, I'm still cranky, but thank you. Like even just that, like, but thank you is enough, right? But nobody wants to keep coming back and saying, oh, I'm going to help you. And I don't need a reward, but I would just like to know that this was the right thing to do. Because the message you're telling me is that you didn't appreciate this and this is not the right thing to do. Debbie says, with extra large trash pickups, a 20 goes far in New York. And you're right. A 20 does go far, right? And so I'll even tell you, like, the guys that delivered my bedroom furniture, they damaged my wall, right? They banged into the wall. I still gave each one of the three guys a $20 bill because they carried a lot of furniture in the house, even after they damaged my wall, right? But I realized that they made a mistake, and that's a mistake that I have to deal with otherwise. But they're still working hard, and they're still trying to get their things done, right? And so, look, for me, from my perspective, a 20 is nice, but to see somebody actually putting in effort, like for me, like the work is worth more than the money. Now, maybe to him, the money is worth more. I don't know, right? But I don't know. But again, see, there's the miscommunication. But still, it doesn't matter. Like maybe I didn't get exactly what I want. When you see the effort, whether it's a giving of a 20 or whatever, you still say, you acknowledge, right? So then Kimber says maybe his wife left him that morning, just apathetic to everything. That's possible, right? That's possible. We've all been like in that time, right? That doesn't change the conversation though, right? So if I'm walking around miserable, depressed, maybe I lost my job, maybe somebody I know died, right? Like I get all of that. I've been through that. Like I actually lost my temper with somebody, probably 10 years ago, when a family member was dying. I was upset about it, and I was really short circuiting and whatever, and I lost my temper with somebody. And I came back and apologized, right? Even though I still felt what they did was wrong, I apologized for my reaction and just said, I was out of line. I was upset about this other thing and it spilled over to you, right? So I don't know what his situation was, right? I don't know what his situation was. But I'm willing to bet that his wife didn't just leave him yesterday morning, right? I'm willing to bet that like that collision of events isn't what happened. It's possible it was. It's definitely possible. But I think 9 times out of 10 or 99 out of 100, that's not what happened. Now, that doesn't mean that that stuff doesn't happen over time, right? The consequences are still there. Wherever you are in life, if you act a certain way, people not knowing your situation and really not caring because they have their own situations, um, they're gonna deal with, like, they're gonna stay away from you, or they're gonna make adjustments based on that interaction. And you could also say that maybe his wife left him, if that's the story we're saying. Maybe his wife left him because of this, right? Maybe he's that cranky at home too. You just like it's all like there's a whole world of things, and it's all based on the way we have small interactions. Um, Yeah, I mean, it was nice. It was more out of guilt. I think it was because I looked out there and I'm like, it's a lot of stuff. I wouldn't want to have to do all that myself. Also, on the flip side of it, knowing that like that's my job. Some days are hard, some days are easy, right? I mean, like some days there's just a little bit of trash, some days there's a lot of trash, figurative trash. Um, and some days you just appreciate when somebody chips in, right? So I don't know. I don't know. I just know that my experience is not going to make me want to do it again. You know, and I can I mean, there's a lots of places in life where that is, where you learn which people you're going to help and associate more closely with, and which people you aren't. Our UPS guy that we've had for the past like year, that guy, like, we love the guy, and so we help him load stuff into the truck. We talk to him, we talk about our families, and we do all this stuff. We built a relationship there. Some other people that pick up our packages and we take our packages to, we're not that tight with, so we just kind of drop it and go, right? It's all that connection. And that the problem is, I think, when it goes further. So with me, with this guy, that's just one interaction we had. Is there room to repair that like minor little relationship in the future? Absolutely. But what a lot of people do is make blanket statements, or they protect themselves emotionally by saying, well, that's his job. I'm not going to help him do that anymore, right? So you get like this self-righteous response that happens. Like, even people like that walk by, they're like, somebody even said to me, like, because I think somebody asked me what I was doing, and I was like, I was just waiting to help them out. And he's like, well, they can do it, right? Like, so, like, some people have different points of view, but some people, once sort of going through that, where they're like, this guy was a jerk, right? They're gonna go, well, like, you know what? They're all jerks. Just let them. I'm never gonna do that again. Screw them. Like, whatever. And so then it turns into a thing, right? And then they get this, like, it kind of manifests and kind of like grows into this, like, malignant kind of attitude, which I certainly don't want to have happen. So I keep it to um, this guy, and say, like, maybe if one week, he's driving by and waves, or I say hi and he says hi, maybe then it starts to get a little bit better. I don't know, but I'd leave it open to that, right? But I'm not going to just make a blanket statement and say, you know what, screw it, I'm never doing that again, right? I mean, look, we can't, because then it's just, we're not trying anymore. Um, Angel, we don't even have that option here. We can only put out what can fit in the company provided bins. Still have tons of packing material. Normally, I would try and pass it along, but because of COVID, people do not seem to want that. So we now are able to put large things out. We weren't before because of the COVID restrictions. I think it was only what fits in bins. Now they've opened it up to other stuff. So I'm sure this guy is seeing a lot of bigger stuff that's been building up. So I get that, and that was a thought that I had also. Sandy says he may not have acknowledged it, but he experienced human kindness. Maybe he'll think about that. And you're right. And so that's what I think about a lot of times when I have conversations with people, whether it's like, So when I'm having even a political discussion with somebody, I might disagree with their point of view. And I all like and so sometimes somebody will say to me, "Why did you even have that conversation?" Because the way I see it, if I can place a small seed of doubt, reasonable doubt, and maybe it takes 5 years to grow into a different train of thought. If we can at least have a normal conversation, and just agree that we don't agree completely, maybe they can start to see a different perspective as they look at other things going on, and maybe it can kind of open their heart to a different point of view. That's kind of the way I look at it. And Sandy, that's what you're talking about here. Somebody tried to help him, right? And that's what I would hope is that maybe at home, drinking a beer, whatever he does at the end of the day, end of a hard day's work, right? He can say, you know what, that guy did try to help, whatever, whatever. And then maybe he just goes on and does what he does, right? What I'm to the point of this conversation, though, is I will be less inclined to help again based on his actions, right? And so I'm not going to keep running myself into that and like running out there every week going, hey, let me help you, right? And so, while maybe that had an impact on him, like he's got to make that choice to understand that, somebody wants to help. If you don't accept it in the right way, or the right way, who am I to judge? But if you don't accept it in a way that says to somebody, hey man, I appreciate the effort, then you might not get that effort again next time, you know? Um, Talk about the other person's interests and care. And so, right. I mean, so like this is how many times do we talk about what we want to talk about or what we are interested in? And you can even have, when you're having that conversation with somebody, and when like as soon as you say something and they they immediately bring it back on them, like it's just like less you more me, right? Like so that whole like that's a conversation I don't like to have very often. And you can see like somebody will talk and talk and talk and talk, and then when it's like your turn to talk, or like when you're responding, and then like they start to drift and they start to like their eyes start wandering, and like they start like like you can tell like when they're not engaged anymore because they're not talking. That is a subtle communication cue that says, I don't really care about what you're saying. I'm trying to think about how we can like, and that maybe not even actively, like maybe it's not even active thought. Like, let's get back to me. Like that's probably not what most people are thinking, but they don't have a good practice of listening to what the other person is saying. So they give off these subtle cues that to a perceptive person says, all right, well, I'm not going to keep talking to this person. Like if they don't like, if I'm going to listen to everything they have to say and be interested, genuinely interested in what they have to say, but then they don't have any interest in what I'm saying, I'm not going to keep running into that conversation. I've had that relationship with people, right? And what I've done is start straying away. Like I know we are not going to have a back and forth. You're going to tell me all about you, and you're not going to have any interest in me. Relationships are transactional, right? Nobody really wants to go into a relationship where they don't get something back, right? It's an investment. And if you get a poor return on your investment, that's not good. And so nobody like in a good place is gonna keep coming back to that. And so, and you shouldn't just like let people dump on you all of their stuff. And then like, and look, I understand like there's relationships where we want to help people, right? That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about genuine like pure relationships where somebody's just telling you all of their stuff and then they have zero interest in what you have to say. That's not one you keep coming back to and expect to have a healthy relationship. Amy says, I'm 5 years younger than my sister. When we were much younger, I remember her husband telling me she treats her guests nicer than her sister. He always says that we should treat family like guests and guests like family. Definitely respectful for all. Very few people say thank you anymore. And you're right. You're right, right? Like, so, like, everybody, like, people that, like, it's funny. I think I heard this on an Ed Milet podcast last year. Like, you want friends that when they come over, you clean up the house, right? Like, you want to, make them feel comfortable, and you want to just, like, you want to be like, it's like just you want friends to just come over, right? You don't want friends just to come over and be close, right? But at the same time, like, you also want to make them more comfortable, so they keep coming back. But as far as the saying thank you thing, I mean, like, holding the door for people, I hold the door for anybody, whether it's a guy or a woman. Um, and when somebody doesn't say thank you, and they just walk on through like it was just expected that you would do this, like whatever. um, that's always, I'm always like, really? Like, just say thank you. Like, it's just polite. Like, it should be a rule that if somebody holds the door for you, you say thank you. And if my kids were ever to do that, they'd get a little whack in the back of the head, like, say thank you, right? It's just like, you can. Then some people are just absent-minded and not thinking about it at the time, but we need to be more mindful of stuff like that. It's the being mindful in those small moments, when it just festers and turns into a bigger thing. You have to carry it to the dump. Yeah, there's some places that are like that. I'm sure there are. Here, it's not. Um, but if that's the way it was, then that's what we would do. It's just, there's that's the way it is. So that's the job he signed up for. So that's what the job entails. And when somebody tries to help you with it, then you know Debbie says, I choose to be nice regardless of the response, but that's who I want to be. And that's the way we all should be, right? Like, we choose to be nice regardless. It's the difference being is that you're going to learn when to put yourself out there a little bit extra for somebody. Like, I will always be nice to this guy. I'm just not going to go out of my way to be nice to the guy, right? And that is how we learn, like, the relationships that we want and don't want. Um, expect ingratitude. That's interesting, Luann. Inspect ingratitude. I don't know. I don't know. I think that we should expect better. I mean, maybe that's a piece of wisdom there that we could live by, but I think we maybe need to set a higher standard. Follow the golden rule: do unto others as you would have them do to you. Grew up with this. I think I've instilled it in my children. We've lost this over the years. I think I completely agree with this. And I don't know what it is. It was almost like there was pushback to discipline, right? There was pushback to, uh, um, like, these little values that we used to have. Um, like, people felt like it was beaten into them, and then because of that, they weren't going to do that to their children. And I don't know why exactly that's the case. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. And I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, so we're going to it right here. Amy says cell phones and social media aren't helping with communication and relationships. I've been practicing putting my phone down so I can give them my full attention, even when they don't put theirs down. And so there you go with a very big nonverbal, right? If you're sitting at dinner with somebody and you're constantly going like this, especially while they're talking, would you feel good? Would you feel like this person's listening to me and giving me their attention, right? Um, like, if I were here talking to you right now and I'm just going like this while we're talking, like, what would you think, right? Would you think my head's into this conversation? Um, and so, and it's basic consideration, right? It's basic consideration. And we're going to get into this in the next couple of days as to how it relates to what's going on in the world right now. Um, but it all comes down to basic consideration for another person, right? Now, in my own on my own side of things, I attempted to be considerate to this other person. He didn't accept it in the way that I felt he should, right? So, here I am going, um, you know, I'm probably not going to do that again. Not with him. It doesn't mean I'm not going to do it again with somebody else, right? And it doesn't mean that I'm not going to, like, maybe I would do it again. Maybe there's another day that I'm going to say, hey man, can I give you help and give you a hand? And he'll say no. And then maybe at that point I say, you know what? Forget it, right? But it doesn't mean I'm going to let that change who I am, right? Maybe I'm not going to be that way with him, but I can still be that way with somebody else. A lot of people take one experience and blanket it onto everybody else. And that's what I think we have to stop doing. So we can't say, you know, I'm never going to help anybody else do anything again. I'm going to stay in my own lane, right? Like, we can't do that, right? Garbage men everywhere. I'm never going to help another one, right? Can't do that, right? Yeah, I think we should. I think we need to have higher standards. I think right now, um, we're kind of going to the lowest common denominator with a lot of stuff. And I think what's going on, and I kind of posted about it yesterday, and I'm gonna have to like dive more into this. Um, but we're letting the loud minority, take over us as the American culture. We have the loud right wing and the loud left wing, and because they're so vehement in what they're saying, everybody in the middle is going, okay, I'm just going to keep my head down and keep on going, right? And that's not getting us any place good. And it's the same, like you see this, like, you can't just say I'm not a racist and go on with your day. Now you have to oppose racism, because just putting your head down and moving on with your day is sort of just perpetuating the problem. It's allowing it to persist. And so, I think people are starting to get the picture that, like, you have to actually oppose it, because just ignoring it and letting somebody else take care of it is putting us in the place that we're in now. So, I think that, we need to have higher standards, and we need to require higher standards of those around us. We can no longer let your crazy uncle or crazy sister post their garbage online without saying, this is wrong. This is not correct. This is completely false. This is a doctored video. This is not okay. Spreading this is not okay. Because what's going on right now is that people are spreading things and everybody else is going, that's crazy, and they're backing away because they don't want to engage in a crazy conversation. But the problem is that other crazy people are seeing it and going, oh, my brother or my sister, let's talk about this crazy stuff together. And then they're whipping themselves into a frenzy while everybody else is going, well, there's a bunch of crazy people over there now. And we're just allowing it to happen. Where before, it was harder for these people to get together without social media, right? And if they got together, they'd get together in a quiet corner and stay away from the rest of society. But now they're all getting together in public, on social media, and they're spouting out things that are just not okay, and nobody's saying anything. We're still handling it in the same way, right? We're still going, okay, whatever, go, just do your thing. I'm going to handle my own business. And then it just festers. And their voices get louder, and they start holding positions, and they start making policy while the rest of us are going, what's happening? Right? But yet none of us are upset enough about anything, because we're by definition in the middle. We, by definition, question how right or wrong we are because we are a little bit more thoughtful about the actions we have. And we hold ourselves to a higher standard and we hold our family members to a higher standard, but we're not holding these people to any standard, and they're getting away with a lot. So, my challenge to you is to stop allowing these people a voice without opposition. And it doesn't mean you need to say you're nuts. Like, right? Like, we don't want to be disrespectful, but we want to say this is wrong, right? This is wrong. This is not right. This is not right, and this is why. And I think we need to say more of that. We need to stop allowing the minority zealots to continue this conversation as if it's a rational conversation in the way they're having it. Because if you look at now where three guys can chase down a man and shoot him with a shotgun, kill him in broad daylight in the middle of a street, like there are people out there going, yeah, I mean, that makes sense. That's not okay. That's not okay. And we need to say that's not okay every day. Every day. And it doesn't matter what this guy was doing beforehand. It doesn't matter what this guy's history was. Nobody gets shot in the middle of the street for walking through a vacant property. It should never happen. Never. And there can be no excuse. And we can't let our family members say, well, he had this history, he was this, he was that. There can be no excuse. There can be no excuse for a guy on the ground with a knee to the back of his neck saying, I can't breathe, and he dies in front of that many people. There is no whatever. It doesn't matter what this guy did. He was in custody. Like that can't happen. That can't happen. All right, I'm gonna get rolling here. Janice, as far as this one, I don't know. I don't think it's a card. I don't think it's a card. And I'll leave this up. I don't think it's a card. I think it's still happening. And I think that we don't understand it. Again, this is not a topic that I've thought through, and I'm still kind of digesting it myself. But like when this is still going on, it's alive and kicking. Um, it's still happening. Uh, People still have their prejudices. People still have their their thoughts when a black person walks in a room. And a lot of people are still outright racist, and I've seen a lot more in recent years, a lot more than I'm comfortable with. Where I thought it was going away, it seems to have made sort of a resurgence, and I'm not comfortable with that. And I think you're gonna see happen now is that with especially with the few things that have happened this past couple of weeks, from Amy Cooper to all of this other stuff, um, we are going to have to reckon with this, um, and understand that we can't even experience it. Like we talk about blind spots and we talk about awareness ourselves with our actions. We can't see their perspective, and I'm talking about the African American perspective. We can't see it because we've not lived it. But I can tell you what I have lived. I have seen um, and been treated by a cop in a way that I didn't think was okay. Right? Um, my reaction was one of self righteousness. Like like how can you even talk to me like this? Right? Where a black person has to be scared. Like, where is this going? Like, how can you talk to me like this? And they can get upset, but they also might get shot for like arguing over that, right? Where we don't have that problem for the most part. Um, it's we can't completely understand it because we've not lived it. And I think we even have members in this group. We have users in this group that if you look on the Nick Boris page, the facebook.com/defined life, you can see what one of our members, a valuable member that's here every day, you can see what she goes through um, every day to make sure her kids stay safe. Look in the comments, and I can't imagine having to worry about that even in the slightest bit every day. And that's it's awful. It's awful. Um, Stacy says, "You are more accommodating than I am. I've been reporting people to Facebook and blocking them hard. I don't need to be exposed to their bad or harassing behavior. I don't need that venom in my space." So I agree with you. So the complete out there people I have blocked, right? But there are people that in a normal, like day to day environment, I sort of respected them. And I've lost a lot of that respect. I maybe unfollowed them. I haven't blocked them. And like people from both sides of it, tell me, I would block these people, and I don't because I feel like I don't know. Maybe I feel I'm naive in hoping that if I were to see what they post and say, no, that's not true, then maybe eventually they would start to say, well, maybe I shouldn't post this anymore. I don't know. I don't know. I might just be being naive in that. Um, Stacy, I'm deeply horrified by the extreme bad behaviors going on in our society. There's just no excuse for it. Bad behavior is bad behavior, regardless of who is doing it. And so that's kind of what I was trying to relay, in this story. And I know it's kind of a petty story with the garbage man and even the dog post, right? But what I'm trying to discuss here is that it happens in small moments daily. And when left unchecked, turns into something much bigger, right? And so if you are the garbage man, understanding that like all of these actions have consequences. So whether your wife left you, whether you had a bad day, whether it's really hot, whatever's going on, if you walk around and you don't acknowledge a kindness or you don't acknowledge people trying to help or you don't like there's going to be consequences for that, right? And a lot of times we're not aware of the things we're doing that repel people. And so it's our mission to understand the actions we have every day and the consequences they have going forward, whether it's the slightest little microaggression, the slightest little bit of racism, the slightest bit of ingratitude, the slightest little bit of whatever, passive aggressiveness, whatever. Like that's going to have consequences. That's why we have to continue to work on ourselves every day. That's why we continue to talk about what our intentions are today, why we journal about the results we got, and why we analyze like what we can change to get better results tomorrow. Whether it's in your relationship, your work, your productivity, your overall health, whatever it is, we constantly need to work on what we're doing today to grow our awareness of how we are acting in the results we're getting. If we're constantly behaving in a certain way and not getting different results, we need to change our behaviors, right? If we're not getting the results we want from our behaviors today, we need to change our behaviors. So if we're saying, why aren't people more nice to me? Let's look at our own actions and say, maybe I need to attract nicer people by being nice or showing appreciation or whatever, right? Why don't people want to come to my house anymore? Maybe it's as simple as you letting your dog jump all over them, right? And that is changing the way that people behave. And if your attitude is, well, that's their problem. I love my dog. Not everybody's going to love your dog, right? We need to be aware of how welcome we're making other people feel, how much we're considering their feelings as they're coming in, right? So there's like all of these little things. It starts small. It starts close to home. It starts in small interactions. whether it's a dog and someone coming into your house, whether it's somebody offering you help at the curb with the garbage, whether it's, the interaction we talked the other day about beeping at people on the road, right? Like all of these little interactions, when we let it all go unchecked, unanalyzed, unappreciated, or unchecked, if I didn't say that already, if we let it all happen without growing our awareness, then it balloons into something much bigger, and it turns into bad things, right? I mean, there's a lot of awareness that was missed between, whatever happened in anybody's life to a guy getting killed on a street in Minnesota, right? There's a lot of things that were missed, from the guy that actually did it to the three other cops that were around him, to how their supervisors handled them, whether they said something along the way. Maybe they were allowed to say things in the break room or on the job, or like nobody said, you know what, that's a little off, man. Like why would you say that, right? Like not dismissive of them, like not saying get out of here, but actually engaging them in the conversation. Like what's wrong, why are you saying that, right? Like these things it starts here, and it grows into what we saw in the street, right? That woman with her dog in Central Park. I mean, how many times has that woman said something, little passive aggressive comment, or, said things with her friends, and then it comes out and she's calling the police and acting like she's in distress when she's really not. And, who knows what happens if there's no video of that. Maybe the cops come in and think this guy is really trying to hurt her, and they, maybe it turns into another situation like in Minnesota. Who knows? But, everybody has consequences to our actions. And we have to grow our awareness of that before it turns into something we can't turn around. Yeah, cops do have authority to go to their head. And I think, the majority of cops, like, we can't overly generalize it, right? And I saw, there's a meme that I saw the other day, but like, you can be angry about cops doing this stuff, but still be supportive of cops, right? Like most cops, 80-90% are family people that, try to do the best they can. And then you have, again, the zealots giving everybody a bad name. So, and you're right. So, Janice, you're absolutely right. Blocking stops the conversation in education. So, we're pushing them into their corners, and the people that are still having these conversations with no opposition, they just grow their fanaticism, right? And they grow these crazy ideas. Where if they started saying it at the dining room table or any other place in public back in the day, people would say, you're crazy. Why would, like, that's nuts. And they're like, oh, maybe I am a little bit crazy for thinking that. Right? And then maybe that stops. But instead, they're getting positive feedback from the other crazy people while nobody else is saying anything. And I'm not saying crazy people, like, I'm not trying to dismiss them as being crazy, but they have these crazy thoughts, right? When someone is not open to education, there's no reason to continue the conversation. It is important to recognize where you can affect change and where you can't. I agreed, and I agreed more in the past than I do now. Because, well, what is it like? Oh, there's a quote, something out, I think maybe Einstein said it or something like, the arguing with an idiot brings you down to their level or something like that, right? And so I don't know how that conversation should go. There's people much smarter than me, but I think that exactly what I just said is important. Like when somebody in the past would say something that was off the wall, the people around them would say, "What?" Right? And then they'd go, oh, "Okay, that wasn't right." That's how people learn, right? That's how people learn, like behavior. Like they put something out there, and when it doesn't fly well, they learn that like that's not okay, right? The problem now is that people are having like they're going on YouTube, they're finding all of the things that support their confirmation bias that's built within them, and they're having these conversations with other people that are confirming this, and they're growing their group, and nobody else is saying what, and so they have more confirmation than people going what, and that's what's making all of this happen. Is that nobody's going what, and everybody's going yeah, right on those black people, or right on those left wingers, or right on those like there's not enough people saying, huh? Um, Francine says, heard someone say everyone has many friends. If you mistreat someone, those friends won't want to deal with you in the future. If you treat someone nice, they will send their friends to you, more customers. And so there you go, right? It's a it works in business and in personal life. Someone will meet you and someone will transact with you verbally, right? They'll get to know you, they'll get to like you, and then they'll say, this person's safe to introduce to my friends, right? They won't cause drama, they won't cause strife, they will add value to our group, right? And that's what happens in business. That's how referrals happen in business, right? Somebody takes a chance. Either they get referred or they take a chance. You connect, they do business with you, and then they're like, "Well, that went as good as I thought it would, or maybe even better." And then they tell all their friends, right? And that's how businesses grow. It's how relationships grow on a personal level. You and I had a good conversation. You and I had a worthwhile time together. You added value to my life. I feel like I added value to yours. Let's add value to other people's lives, right? But when somebody goes, huh? Like you're not safe to bring around my friends because you're going to cause turmoil. You're going to cause this. You're going to disrupt our good environment here, right? That's how like. But then this person doesn't learn because they're not around good people. So it's a catch-22 with it. Hello, Audrey. Good to see you. Good to see you. Thanks for joining us. Stacy says, I'm actually concerned about saying some things to people in public at this time because people are getting shot over masks. People are so explosive right now. We are in scary times, and I am selective. I agree with you. And it's crazy that like masks are political now, right? Like it's just common sense for most people, but yet there's other people going, I'm not going to wear a mask. I am free to not have to wear a mask. Like that's my freedom, whatever. Like, and that's like we can get into like what freedoms mean. In fact, that book, Everything is Effed, I'm pretty sure that's the correct book, from Mark Manson. He talks about what freedoms really are. Like freedoms don't mean that you can do anything you want, right? There are laws. Like the goal of our society is to be healthy for the majority of people, to grow our society. It's not so that you can do anything you want and I can do anything I want, that I deserve to be happy. You can pursue happiness. Happiness is not guaranteed. And so that doesn't mean that I can do whatever I want to be happy. Because there can be some really weird stuff out there that you do that makes you happy that nobody else is really going to appreciate. And so you're not going to be allowed to do that. And it's not, if the government says to me, you have to wear a mask, right? Like there are more important things to protest. There are more important things to get upset about. There are more, like literally, I mean, like this week has shown us the more important things. So, like if you feel it's infringing on your freedom to wear a mask, maybe, like, yeah, it's uncomfortable and you feel like you should, but that doesn't mean that you can't be told to do it for the health and security of the rest of society, right? That's why we have laws. That's why we have rules. because this country is made to benefit the majority, and the everybody has an opinion, and there's going to be variables, but you can't make everybody equal in every way. You have to pick and choose where you're doing it, and that's how we continue to grow as a country. Yeah, Janice, you're right. Growing the ignorance and disrespect. Angel says, my thoughts on this are that we all have limited time and energy. Yes. Yes, I know where you're going here. When you see that someone will not change no matter what you say, move on. There are people you can't reach, and there are people that you can reach, right? And so there you go. And that's so I agree with you. So I have people in my life that I at one point respected more until like some of the things that they've put out there have happened. And now I go, okay, so maybe this person, like, I don't know, right? And so I might unfollow them. But what I do see is that they sometimes will comment on my stuff. And then when they comment on my stuff is when I will respond in a way that I feel appropriate. Um, I don't go chasing it out. And I certainly don't do it with people like if you read a news article and look in the comments there, that's a mess. I don't engage there. I do engage with the people that I'm personally connected to, right? And I don't do it in a way, I don't say like, you're nuts, what's wrong with you, stuff like that. I will put out like a fact. People don't like facts, people try to twist facts. But I will put out a fact as like, this is actually what's going on here, right? Or this isn't real because of this, right? And I think my thought is this. If I can offer enough opposition, not that I need to engage in a conversation back and forth about whatever, but if I can offer a little bit of opposition, maybe they think twice about putting something else out there. Maybe they go, well, Nick's going to, respond and tell me why this isn't right. Maybe I should investigate it more. I don't know. Maybe I'm being naive there too. I don't know. But I feel like if enough of us were to say, when crazy Uncle Al writes his conspiracy theory, and enough people say, Al, nah, that's not right, right? Like maybe Al will go, okay, maybe I should stop doing this. I don't know. It's just a thought. Maybe we could try it. I don't. Well, let's see. Yeah, yeah, and we should be, right? I'm sad when people die too, right? I think we all should be. But how many people do we know or do we hear about that are like, if people die, I mean, people have literally, like politicians have literally said, like, people die all the time. Like, if I'm not going to die from this, I'm going to die from something else. If people don't die from this, they're going to die from something else. Like, that's like, we just look at it like, meh, like, really? I don't get that. I don't get that. People get mad about wear a mask, but no one cares about wear a shirt, wear shoes, right? It's just because it's, we're used to the shoes and the shirt, right? But if we were walking around with no shoes for a long time, and somebody's like, "Hey, could you wear shoes in my place?" Right? And they'd be like, "Oh, I want to go barefoot," right? It's just different. In the end, it doesn't matter. It's a minor inconvenience in the same way that putting shoes on was a minor inconvenience 1,000 years ago, or more. I don't know. I mean, it was sandals 2,000 years ago, right? It's just a minor inconvenience. So you throw a mask on your face, right? I don't enjoy it. I'm getting used to it. It's not like I can't wait to go out so I can wear a mask. That's certainly not what I'm doing, but I'm going to do it because it doesn't bother me that much. And it doesn't bother me because I know there are bigger things out there to worry about. I don't need to make a political statement about it, right? I just need to go out, protect myself, protect others, and get groceries or whatever I need from Home Depot. So yeah. All right. I'm going to get rolling. I know we are way over time right now. I appreciate you guys joining me on a Saturday morning. Have a happy and healthy Saturday. Keep moving forward. Keep growing your awareness. be authentic to you. Appreciate the other people around you. And let's make this place a little bit better today and tomorrow. Take care. Keep moving forward. Bye.